Hi everyone, April Cox here. We are going to continue with our A plus tutorial. If you missed the first part of this video, check it out in the description and go back and watch the overview. For now, we are going to move forward in a step-by-step fashion to show you exactly how you can apply your A plus content to your Amazon listing. Let's get started. I'm going to move forward and just show people how to get into this new area that shows them and where they can add their own A plus content. So I've logged into KDP. This is the bookshelf, and I'm going to just scroll down to my puppy pickup day. And in here, and any of your titles, if you come over to the right where the ellipses is, you have this promote and advertise area. Now, if for those of you that are running ad campaigns, this is where you would be running your ad campaigns. If you scroll down a little bit lower, you can see your A plus content. And you can add A plus content to .com or any one of these other marketplaces. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the .com and manage my A plus content. And I say manage it because I did already start this one, just so that we would have something to look at here. But if you do not, you can just start creating A plus content brand new over here. I'm just going to go ahead and do the one that I have in progress. So here, and I have some things that I have to fix because the content was rejected. So I'll go to the edit so you guys will see a little bit about how these modules get added and removed. So with each one of the modules that we have here, so what I'm going to do is this is the module that Amazon didn't like because it has a star rating. So I'm going to go ahead and X this and click it to remove it. So you can see here, I have some modules added. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the full modules that you can add. And then we'll come and take a look at the ones that I've got added here. So when you first come in, there's going to be no modules added. You're just going to click add module. And these are all the different modules that you can add. First over here is that standard company logo that we saw at the top of Mary Nin's content. Here's that comparison chart. Here's a 4-image with text. We saw some of this, these 4, I think the one that we looked at was 3 images, but there's different ways and different modules. There's a total of 17 different modules to choose from. Some with like a little overlay, some with, this is the one that we love so much with, it provides you with that nice largest image that you can possibly use. And here's, some different multiple image modules that you can use, just text-based modules. Here's the one that I used with Adam, where I had his author picture over here and his title over here. So there's a few different versions of that one without an image, some comparison ones here with spec detail, and lots of different things that you can play with. Here's the 3-picture version that has the text underneath. By the way, this is the best for how it looks on a mobile phone. You have the 3 images showing one at a time on top of each other. So as you scroll down, you can see all 3 images. It looks beautiful, whether it's on the computer or on the images on the mobile phone. And I will also mention that I do have a guide that, for those of you that are watching this, whether it's a replay, I do have a step-by-step guide that identifies all the different modules, how they can be used, and highlights a lot of the information that I'm going to show you here today, as well as the step-by-step process that we're using. And I will make that available to you to download. So check out the description if you're looking at this on replay. And for those of you that are here, if you don't already have the content, the A+ guide, I'll make sure that you get that from after today. So here's the different modules. I'm just going to just add this one for the time being. So it's just a text module, right? And this gives us the ability to add text. Now you can also see there's up and down. You can move things up or down. So I kind of would like, what I was looking for with the other module was something above this. That just says collect all the little Labradoodle books. And maybe I'll just bold that. So it's not very flexible, this text modules. But I have that little collect them all. Maybe I've got my content here, extra content and printables that I want added here. And I have some behind the book things that I'm highlighting for each one of these modules. And you can see here also, it's as you're adding modules, you are able to then click in and add the different text that you have, the different, add more bullet points as you go, add more bullet points as you go. So all of this is completely customizable with your own activities. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just show you one more thing. I've deleted that module so I could add one of these others. As I click in and add a module, what you'll see here is if there's images available for that module, it will show you this image is 220 by 220. So when you are creating your images, you may want to do as some of us are that are, not Photoshop phenoms like Sarah, you might want to come in and create something in Canva. So if I say 220 by 220, create a new design, I can grab any of my uploaded images. So let's just say this one. And I've made it the exact size that the module requests, so I can then download. And you want to download a PNG file. And when you click download from Canva, it's just going to toss it in your download folder. So as I come back here and I click here on the image, it lets me go find my design, open it in here, and then it gives you the opportunity to add some image keywords. Now, Amazon has not came to us and said these image keywords will, be indexed somehow, but they do show up on your page as, kind of like for people who are accessing your site, and they have visual impairments or whatever. It's kind of like the alt text that might appear instead. So I'm just going to say coloring page for little Labradoodle book. The way that I look at it too is if you have keywords that you want to make sure get into your page that are for sure crawled by Google, all of this alt text is going to be part of a Google site crawl. So I would try to insert keywords that make sense. And while Amazon has not said, yes, they index on these keywords, you should, potentially that could be a possibility. So they haven't confirmed or denied any of that. So I tend to be more safe than sorry and put in the extra content that I want. So here, if I say, get the coloring pages, I can add some information here. Beautifully designed coloring and activities for a download. Something like that. So you can see how you can create and fill out these things. And that's why I wanted to show you some of these already filled out, because it does take time to go through and really create all of these. And you can see the same thing here. We had to add each one of these images. These with the 3 across are 300 by 300. So each one of the modules has, different requirements for the images, the image size on the modules. So if you grab the guide, you'll see I highlight all of the modules themselves, what their requirements are for imaging, and that gives you a bit of a sense for how best to compare. I'm going to move that over. Once you have your modules created, then the next thing you'll do is hit next. And it gives you this opportunity to apply your ASINs. So you might search for the ASIN here. Let's just take this one off. I'll remove this one and just show you what it would look like to add a new ASIN. So the ASIN is on your, so here I put the ASIN number for my book. I click here and it's going to show it to me here. Like, yep, that's the book that I'm trying to add it for. And I'm going to click apply content. By applying the content, it moves it down to these applied ASINs. So for me, I have my ebook, I have my paperback. Unfortunately, when you are only using KDP, you're not able to, for example, I have a hardcover on Ingram Spark. I can't apply that ASIN here. It's only allowing you to apply KDP ASINs. So if you happen to have Ingram Spark doing a paperback and hardcover for you, and you want to do something like that, you could go to somebody with an Advantage account. We happen to do that for others. So if you prefer to have someone else implement it for you, then someone that does have that more advanced account can also include your hardcovers or things outside of KDP. But if this is really meant for KDP only on this side here. Now, I had some content rejection because it did not like the 5-star. So Amazon will reject if you try to submit something that says something like best-selling, like if there's a claim in there, award winner of such and such a prize, these kinds of claims Amazon doesn't like. Even when you try to say, hey, I did win, let me show you, they just don't have the patience for it. They will just reject what it is that you're submitting. So when I had something about bonus content that people could download. So in this area, this is all bonus content. There's a video book, there's a teacher's guide, and a companion coloring and activity book. I used the word bonus over here. They rejected that. They didn't like it. They didn't like reviews that show stars. And it's funny because sometimes I'll see other people's A+ content with reviews on it, like we saw with Mary, and they're okay with those. But if they infer that there's like some star rating or something else going on, they reject the content, and then you have to resubmit.
Yeah, I've gotten by with not putting how many stars, but like the little like reader's favorite badge, even if it says 5 stars, they haven't rejected that. So
okay,
sometimes
so some of it's just trying to play around,
trying new things.
Yep. And then once the content is what you want it to be, then all you're doing here is just clicking submit for approval. And submit. And it says my changes have been saved. My content was successfully submitted. Now, within the next day or two, I may get them, like, because they are going to look at my listing. And that's when they'll decide if it's going to be able to move forward, or if you get an email from them saying that you have to go in and correct something. So anybody, this is, like I said, this is the full design of the update for the one that I walked through with the guide. I have the step-by-step of how I created this whole thing in the guide that I saved. But does anybody have questions about what we've covered so far?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Katie.
At what point in the process of getting your books up onto Amazon can you do this? Is it only after you've published, or can you do it beforehand when you're getting everything set up?
That is a really good question. So with KDP, let me just go back here to KDP. In order to actually submit A+ content, you have to have an ASIN. So here I am back on my dashboard here with KDP, and you'll see that I have an ASIN assigned here and here because these books have been submitted and approved by Amazon. So until you publish a book, it doesn't get an ASIN assigned to it. Once you have that ASIN assigned, then you can apply A+ content.
And that includes pre-orders. So once you have it approved for pre-order, because like I wanted mine up whenever, like on launch day. So the workaround for that is once your book is up for pre-order, you got your ASIN. And so as soon as I had that ASIN from pre-order, I uploaded my A+ content so that whenever I had my Amazon launch day, when I was saying, hey, today's the day, get your free ebook, leave your reviews, it was already beautiful.
Yeah. So, and the ebooks, Amazon will allow you to do pre-order with the ebooks. They don't allow you to do a pre-order with paperbacks. But if you do pre-order your Kindle ebook, all you need to get that content up for a pre-order is the front cover. And you can, and put your description or whatever. And then once that's up, you have a certain number of days to come back and to apply the internal content files. So you will get, as like Sarah said, as soon as you submit that pre-order for your Kindle, you still have time for your designer to work, and you also can get the A+ content put in there.
That's really helpful. Yeah, thank you. Because my ebook's just been kind of sitting there waiting for the date I was going to launch it, but I might as well just put it up for pre-order so I can get the A+ content up on there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And there's no reason why you can't try, start laying things out. I do believe, let me see if I have, like, these don't have anything here. This is just my test area that I use to test others' books. So yeah, you can't promote. Yeah, the promote and advertise isn't on there until it's published. So
yeah, that's why I asked, because I was like, oh, I can't even follow step one.
Yeah,
I can't figure it out.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Promote
okay.
and advertise won't be there until you have those.
You know what? Can I cover my butt here? I guess you can do it in KDP, because when I did it with my pre-order, I had an ASIN and I entered it over an Advantage, but I haven't tried it with the book on pre-order just in KDP. So I assume it's the same.
Yeah, I think it is, as long as you have an ASIN to apply it to.
I would think so.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we should verify that for sure, but I don't have my pre-order expired because it ran a little bit late, so I'm not able to double check on that for the new book.
April, I have some one-on-one time with you tomorrow morning, so maybe we just get my ebook up for pre-order and we'll test it out then. Then
I can update the guide, make sure everybody.
Yeah, and report back to me so that I always want to, I hate when I give people bad information. So
and then I have another.
Go ahead.
I just have another question. What's the rules? And I don't know if it's different. It may not matter if it's A+ or just general descriptions or anything. Like, I'm assuming you can't refer to another website from Amazon, right? Like if you have this supplemental materials, because one of the big things on Mighty Meal is that I have all these supplemental learning guides and all this stuff, but it's on my website, right? But how do you know, I want to put it, I want to do that like 3-square layout to say that one of the things is that it's educationally focused and all this other stuff, but it's not on Amazon.
Right.
So can you even, you can't refer to anything, I'm guessing. Maybe the image can kind of show my website name at the bottom. I don't know.
I haven't tried to add a website name to the A+ content. Have you, Sarah?
So it's technically a no-no. They don't like it. However, they don't like it. They say no. But a workaround we've tried that sometimes works is if you take off the www before and just have like, I don't know, is it mightymilo.com? I can't promise anything, but sometimes it works. Sometimes it works. If you're saying bonus material, like, you know, you'd have to be very careful with your verbiage.
Then I'll test it out and see what.
Yeah, and you probably do like me and get a couple of things rejected before it gets passed through, but that's okay.
Yeah, so all the more reason to get started early. And that's another thing, the turnaround time with Advantage, we find that it's approved within like 5 minutes. KDP is taking a lot longer.
I think what's happening is that they are actually looking at every single one that's submitted to them and then they're you know, either saying yes, it's approved, or no, it's not. So that can take, according to their, you know, their guidelines, up to a week. I'm seeing approval within 2 or 3 days, but you know, they say it can take longer, depending, of course, on how many people are submitting the content, right? As it gets more and more popular, it might take longer and longer to get things approved. But like Sarah said, when we do it, it's 5 minutes and it's up and it's approved. So there's an automation, like to catch certain keywords that it'll bump you back and say, sorry, you can't use bonus, you can't use award. And we fix that right away. And then when we submit, if it goes past that automation, it pushes out, and there's no other manual. There doesn't seem to be anyway, any other kind of manual checking that's happening with that content. So it might be, you know, another option, another opportunity for those of you who are looking for help and want to just tweak some things or do some things a little bit differently.
Yeah, which also, you know, we've gotten by with the whole like dropping the www on Advantage, maybe because it's automated, but maybe if somebody's actually manually looking at it, they might still throw out if it just says aliceeloise.com as opposed to www. If it's an actual human being, they might be like, no, that doesn't work. But so yeah, there are some benefits to doing it through Advantage for sure. That quick turnaround, like, you know, whenever we're just getting started doing it for people on KDP, but if we know that their launch day is in like a day or two, we're just putting it up on Advantage to make sure that it's there for them on launch day. So there are benefits, but we're still feeling out the differences and the similarities.
So, and I do have, I just want to show the guide that we've pulled together. Let me see if I can move it over here a little. Share my screen. So the guide itself is quite comprehensive. It has all of the different aspects of A+. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. Okay. So from, you know, adding A+ content to, you know, first of all, what is it? Why should you add it? How do you mark up the content? Hold on here. All of the different images and what their standard image size is that's all in the guide. And then you have some examples of A+ content that we have created for others. You'll see my book here, Daddies Love Their Babies. We also have some, and I tried to highlight different things about the content that was really special and why you might want to consider using the particular types of options. So we show children's books, we show Bobby Hinman's ghost book, right? So even though you may not have illustrations like children's book illustrations, you can still find some imagery that really looks nice. Same thing here with another adult book that Sarah was able to mark up the cover, the interior design, and you can usually find imagery either online, or in this case, this was the author's like scrapbook pages that we used from inside the book to pull together something really nice.
And that was the same for Bobby's, but I did one for like a young, like a middle grade fantasy book, and we grabbed some stock images that I added some, like, I superimposed cover on. So there's lots of options. So
yeah, I remember that book was very Roman themed. So you were able to grab some like Roman looking images that helped make things look really nice. And when you are a designer like Sarah, creating something like this or something like this, where you just have this huge image as a module, you can do anything you want with it. You can put a website name on there and they're not reading the words. It's just part of your image. You can do, so if there's not like that manual review of things, you may be able to find that these images are the most flexible. And having, I'm not the greatest when it comes to design. I was able to do something like this with Adam's book because it was within my abilities to just create something in Canva for this size, and then just drag things around on this size. But when it comes to having these beautiful, layouts of covers like this is where Sarah and her abilities with Photoshop really come in handy. So for those of you who don't have a Sarah, you're welcome to work with me to go to selfpubmadesimple.com, and we do have A+ content design for you where you can pay for Sarah to go in and create the design, and even will log in and implement it on your own KDP system, either with you or you just share your login credentials and she'll do it for you. And her work is amazing. So there's that ability for you. If you have an illustrator or a graphic designer already that's working with you, then all you really need to do is provide them with the sizes for your images, and then you can drop those in using your A+ content, and you'll be able to move forward. So here's, I went through the step-by-step process all the way for my implementation, all the way to submission, and then have some frequently asked questions and different opportunities and services and how you can get, help from Self-Publishing Made Simple in order to pull it all together.
April, can I ask a question real quick?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So I haven't I got your, that information that you had just shared on your screen, and it's amazing. And I haven't even had time to look into it. That's kind of on my, further down on my list of things to do. My media kit is kind of my pressing thing that I'm trying to work on. So you answered one of my questions, was that just looks so involved and detailed that I'm like you, the layperson, that I couldn't even imagine putting together something like that. So I appreciate you offering those services. So how much would it be if you have an idea, if we did want to pay you, Sarah, or April, to put something for the A+ content together?
Yeah. So
just so I can
service,
kind of have something.
Yeah. The service itself is $189, and it comes out as, I think it's called enhanced Amazon listing. And it's $189. That includes all of Sarah's time to design your content. Some people come to us and they're like, hey, I have I have an idea in my head of what I want to do, and I just need you to make it happen. Other people are like, they don't even have an opportunity to, or a way to voice what they want to put on the page for their own, like, you know, values or things that are really special about the book. So Sarah will take all, you know, take their PDF of their book, read through it, put together a first draft. And usually with that first draft and, you know, what they're seeing, they're able to say, to tweak things and give her a little bit of feedback that then turns into a finished copy.
Okay.
We get everything all across the board, from somebody who basically knows exactly what they want to just sending me the PDF and saying, I have no idea, just do it. And then we hammer out the details on draft one. And yeah.
And would this be, so since I am working on my press kit, my media kit, that's kind of one thing. And this is again for the book that I've already published. So I'm kind of doing things backwards a little bit. But do those things kind of go a little hand in hand, where some of the information can kind of go on both?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so maybe we could bundle something. I don't know if that's a possibility.
I mean, I just did Betsy's, where I did her media kit. And
would you like to share?
Sure, I just pulled it up actually. Okay. Where I had just done her media kit, and her launch is right around the corner. So I did the media kit. So she had already sent me like information that she wanted included in the media kit. I laid it all out. And when I got approval on that, then I went and I designed the A+ content. And as you can see, I recycled like this front cover, and like all her little characters here, like, you know, different layout, but and like the values, I just, you know, was reading through the information she sent and grabbed quotes that I thought were, you know, standouts, and threw it all together. And it was, you know, we basically hammered out all the details with the media kit, and then by the time we got to the A+ content, she didn't even require any changes. So that
was good. Okay, that's perfect. So they kind of could be, you know, anyway, all right, we might be in touch. Thank you. I didn't want Braille to go to media kits, but I appreciate that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And if you have a media kit that you've already done, that can also be an asset to send to your designer in addition to your PDF. Because like if the values are there, it streamlines things. So definitely enough.
Thank you.
Of course.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any questions? Katie, how are you doing with A+ content? You feel like you have a good grasp of what your values are, and the certain cover designs and mock-ups that you want to use?
Yeah, I have it all planned out right now just from talking through this, because I know which modules I want to do. Because I did a lot of stuff for the Kickstarter, and then also I just finished getting my website built. Nice. So I feel like I've been thinking about all this type of stuff for a little while now. So I'm like, all right, like I'm going to do the font, and I'm going to do, I really like what you did, April, with the cover, and then a description, and then something about the author. Like I'm going to use that one. And then I want to do a big spread of pictures.
Some people will do like a separate thing about the author. I just found that it's kind of nice to see the book and the description. And I love how like it gives you the extra bullet points, because it makes you think in bullet points about what are the things you want to highlight about the book. And then having that extra content on the right, it just it just gave me an opportunity to talk a little bit about the amazing author that pulled that stuff together. And that way you can have whatever look or feel that you want, whether it's zany like Adam did, or like mine is pretty easy, just about me and what I do. But it makes it so that it's not like a whole separate thing just about the author, but it still gives a great bit of information, because the Amazon, does already have an author bio. So you don't have to repeat everything in the bio, but it's kind of nice to see a picture of the person who created the book right there. Something that you won't just gloss over.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I like
My
that.
eyes do gloss over the author bio that Amazon already has. And not every author really cares to, it might not be relevant to them to have in their A+ content, but there's some people like for you, Katie, that it is your child's story. And right now, and I put ours in because it's our life story. I'm working on one. It's When I Am a Surgeon, and it's the author inspired by her real life. And I think that it can be, people can really connect with that like story behind the story. So sometimes it's really nice to include that. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like put a picture of me and Mila, because I think it brings home the personal aspect of
Right.
it. And it's like, this is a real kid with hearing loss that inspired this. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And for those of you that have Photoshop experience, you know, we do have some Photoshop mock-up things that
Yeah.
people can use, that Praise has gifted us. Praise Designs is another designer that I work with, but she has like 48 different mock-ups that she shared,
Yeah.
all Photoshop files, that if anybody wants to be able to use those things, you know, I have those all available in the files section for the work group, the self-publishing mastermind group. So for those that aren't a part of that, if you need something, let me know. But I'm going to be uploading a whole ton of resources and things that will be available so that, you know, if you have some basic Photoshop capability, maybe you can very easily just, you know, grab a spread and drop it into one of those beautiful mock-ups and it will look perfect. I don't know, because I'm very bad at that. Sarah, maybe you can, how difficult is it if you have the Photoshop and you have some basic skills?
It depends on the mock-up. Some are so easy, like really easy, but a lot of them require some finessing. Like this one, for instance, I use a lot, and you can see that like the back here, it has a wraparound of the front cover. It looks like a real book. It's really beautiful. That's why we use it so often. I fell in love with it when I first saw it, and it's easy to place these front covers, for instance. Like this is called a smart object. You just double click, throw your cover in, and boom. But then like there's just certain details like the shadows and like the back covers requiring like warping and a clipping mask. So you kind of have to know what you're doing. But that's also why, you know, like there's YouTube videos that if you are so inclined to learn, that you can. Photoshop, you know, like I don't recommend having Photoshop if you don't plan on using it, because it is a monthly subscription and whatnot. But if you have it and you like doing it, if you have Photoshop capabilities, you'll figure it out.
So this mock-up that you have on right now, Sarah, is that just a matter of grabbing a spread and dropping it in? Is that an easy one? Because that looks like something that is just absolutely gorgeous for whatever your favorite spread is.
Thank you. And that's my thought too. Like a lot of them have that same basis, a smart object that you can click in and add your thing. Once again, these wraparounds are where it gets a little trickier. So I'll do like the wraparound of the front. This one, I thought it's kind of fun to show my end pages a little bit. And once again, the shadows. Sometimes the shadows aren't quite right, especially if you have more than one thing. If the shadows like kind of aren't matching and throwing things off. Or this one, for instance, it used to like extend past, and I've been working on like, I haven't perfected it, but just getting the shadow just right. Like, so it's not like difficult once you know what you're doing, but they do tend to require some finessing, but they are well worth it for the end result. Like here you can see. So I tend to have a basic formula. It varies. The top, I almost always have this big stunner, whether it's your covers or a pretty spread. And this is where branding comes in also, you know, using the fonts from your cover, not always necessary, but it can look really nice. And then, you know, we already talked about.
Yeah, and I should mention, do you mind if I interrupt you for 1 second? Underneath this top, so the huge picture that Sarah has at the very top, right, includes the text above. So even just because she made it look white, it looks like it's kind of floating and separate from what's below, but it's really all the same. And then beneath this one big image, you have the opportunity to add text like Sarah did with hers. If you leave the text off, it just doesn't put it. So you have a little bit of a separation between the two. So that's one of those areas where if you decide not to add text, it'll just shrink that up. That's all.
Yeah. Because we definitely do not always have text. This one does, but like I think Betsy's that I just had up did not. So just an example of what that would look like. Yeah, it just skips right down to your next module. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with it, but yeah, or sometimes I'll do this also where you'll have a front cover and then interior mock-up as well.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, this one turned out really pretty. I love this one.
I love it. It's, if you're going to spend the time on A+ content, the way I look at it is have somebody with a really great design eye do it, because what a difference this makes and how gorgeous that is. That just makes the whole book. I can't wait to click buy as soon as I look at this because it's adorable.
Yeah, that's what Bobby said last week. Her point was it's a really good idea to have your editor look at this too. And
that's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. From her eye as an editor, that's what she sees. My eye as a graphic designer, I'm a snob. I notice pretty things and I notice things that could use improving. And most people don't look at it that way, but most people, the casual buyer, it's still the first thing they see of your book. And
right.
So yeah, like
I'm thinking of Amazon ads, like, as I'm in that, April helped me to set up my last 2 campaigns. And I'm thinking if you're not getting that click, you're getting the click, but you might not be getting the purchase. This can be the difference between somebody saying, just like you said, buy now.
So, exactly.
Especially, and I would recommend to anyone who's setting up their A+ content to check it on your mobile. There are some modules that look better than others on mobile. And when I look at how many people are coming to my website and to my Amazon store, mobile versus, computer, it is growing and growing. And sometimes when I look at things, I'm like right around 60% of the people are coming from mobile. That blew me away. And sometimes it's up as much as 80% of the people are coming from mobile. And it just blows me away because you want to make sure that what you're showing them is going to look really nice on a mobile phone as they're clicking on something. They're on Amazon shopping for something. Amazon makes it pretty simple for people to search for things, look for them on their mobile phones and purchase. So we want to make sure that when they're looking at our listing, that we don't have them scrolling wicked lot before they get to the buy, right? That's one thing, but we want what they are looking at to be really beautiful and to represent your book well.
Yeah, and so we've talked about my favorite module by far is just this big one. It's on a computer, it is just gorgeous, right? On a mobile device, these are what really shine because this gets shrinked down to the width of your phone. So it's nice to have a mix where these are literally, this little image gets blown up. So you have to look at it for yourself to fully imagine it, but it's, because I have had some authors, and sometimes I do this solid example right here. I didn't want points under each of these. I wanted to write all of this on here, but it mimics this look. However, on a phone, these of course do not blow up. It's just, this whole thing is just the width of my phone. So, you can do things this way, but on a phone, these just really shine. So it's nice to mix those modules together. A little insight to So I do my designs in Photoshop and InDesign. Canva, you can do a lot of the same things, like the mockups, not so much. And also, like, it's not as easy to get your branding font if it's not available, but you can look for something similar. But I just, design my big modules by entering that 970 by 600 pixels. And I add all my little images. Also, this is one of my reasons that it is good to have your editor look at it. My A+ content said this for at least a month. The story behind, oh wait, no, it's right now. The story behind the story, but it used to say the story behind the story for like a month. So I can look at a design forever and notice like what's wrong with it, like from a visual standpoint, but the text like right over my head.
Right.
So yeah, you can just kind of see all the different elements.
Yeah.
I designed this in Photoshop and brought it over into InDesign. And then for the little modules, just enter that. It's 300 by 300 for, and 270 by 270, I think, depending on if it's 3 or 4. But and then just export them and plug them into the modules. And so yeah, it's the design side of things is the tricky part. The activating it is a breeze. So it's up to you and how inclined you are to actually design things yourself. But yeah, that's basically what I do and kind of the formula I tend to use.
Yeah, and I like what you said, Katie. I've got some people that I'm mentoring on Amazon ads as well, and some that I manage for them. And I always recommend waiting until the A+ content is in there, because if you're going to be driving traffic, first of all, I want to make sure that their categories are, that they've got the extra categories added, that they've got the look inside the book, so that when people are able to look inside, that they have that additional ability to see more than just a few pages. And then also that their A+ content is done so that we can move forward and create some ads that are hopefully going to get some traction, not just a lot of clicks, but actually let them do, move from browser to buyer.
Yeah, because it can absolutely make the difference. And yeah, and if you're doing a series like this, you can kind of incorporate, I tend to incorporate like similar visuals, just kind of make things look nice together. It's not totally necessary, but yeah, it's really, the possibilities are infinite. Your only constraints are 5 modules and has to be something that they have for you. But you can really do a lot with those 5 modules, and it makes a world of difference. Even before I was creating books, subconsciously, if I was shopping for dog leashes and I saw one that I could see all these visuals and read about it, I was so much more likely to buy it. So yeah.
April and Sarah, I have I guess a comment and a couple questions. My comment is, I having looked at books that have the A+ content like mine and those that don't, I would never put a book onto Amazon unless there was A+ content. Whether I did it, I don't think so, or someone else does it. I think that's really necessary. My first question is, I don't know if there could be any statistics. I'm wondering if there's a way to know, does it make a difference in a sale? I guess there's no way of knowing it. I guess they could click on it and see it, and that would inspire them to buy, as opposed to a book that doesn't. But I wonder if anyone.
I'll let you know after I do it.
Okay.
Our best evidence is people that have had it before and after. Because I, like you, Pat, I know I made yours on your launch day, so it would be there. And I made mine pre-launch day as well, so I don't have a before and after.
Okay.
So I don't think there's like any way to know specifically that that's what grabbed a person, but I think our best evidence is people like Stephanie, who will have before and after. If their sales peak, especially for people running ads, that they go from lots of clicks and few conversions to clicks that convert to orders, then I think that's the best evidence we can get.
And then my other question is, I do have the handout. It's excellent. I mean, it's just like, even I can follow it. I don't know if I can do it, but I can follow it. And, you know, so that you can create things in Canva and then move them over.
Yes,
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
then when I screw up, then I go to Sarah.
Or you just come and drop into one of our sessions, because as a member of the self-publishing mastermind, you're a part of that community. We're going to be doing drop-ins twice a month. So
Okay.
if you're having any issues with anything, drop in, we'll help you there. That's going to be part of the higher touch that's provided as part of the self-publishing mastermind community. You're not going to be on your own, Pat. So no worries.
Pat, I was just thinking, I was like, time is money. And the time that I've already spent even just thinking about doing the media kit, and I have nothing, you know, started on it. I could have paid somebody to do it. And is it Krisha? Who's the one that's in the Philippines?
That does the video books, you mean?
Yeah, but she was also going to help with the one. Well, yeah, I think it's Crispa or something. Anyway, we've been unable to kind of meet. Her computer's broken down right now and stuff. But if I had just the amount of time that I've spent even just stirring about it, you know, it could have equaled sales, you know, if I get all this stuff out. So
I agree.
Yeah, and I will say that it's going to be a difficult study. At some point, maybe Amazon will come back, or Dave Chesson, who loves analytics and does these kind of studies, will come back and say, those with A+ content have about this kind of conversion, those without have this conversion. The other thing is, visual content like this is really dependent on, it's only as good as your book is, right? Sarah's a magician. She does a beautiful job. But if someone is coming to her with subpar illustrations, or, you know, a cover design that's really lousy, it's going to just make it that much more, visible that it's not that great of a book.
That perfect example.
So that could actually go in the opposite direction for somebody implementing A+ content, where the interior designs just aren't that great, or the cover design isn't all that great. And when you try to turn it into a 3D, even that doesn't do much to it. So when people come to me for coaching and they have those issues, I'm going back and saying, can I give you some feedback? And, because I want permission to be completely honest. And I've had to say, I think we need to redo your cover. And I think that the internal design of your book could be so much better. And if you look at All Daddies Love Their Babies and All Mommies Love Their Babies, that's what we did. We took a cover that was okay with gorgeous illustrations, and we created a beautiful cover. We redesigned the interior, and praise Saffler and her design team did an amazing job with that. And it took a book that was so-so, but obviously self-published, and now turned it into a keepsake level book, because someone took the time to share with her, hey, you could do so much better than this. Here's, have the people to connect you to in order to help make that happen. And sometimes that's what a coach's job is to tell you, baby's ugly, or it needs some fixing. Our book babies aren't always everything that they could be. So try to do our best and be kind. And sometimes the story deserves so much more than it has. And sometimes we even suggest, reworking the illustration altogether. So nobody likes to hear that. And, in some cases I've said, I don't necessarily think plus content is necessary for this book, because it's the person, is happy with the interior illustrations, but they're not the kind of illustrations that you would want to highlight.
Yeah. April's a great person to analyze that, and sometimes it's simple like that. The All Mommies Love Their Babies and All Daddies Love Their Babies, like, you see the illustrations and they are just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. Whenever I started A+ content, I accidentally got the old version, and a graphic designer will see the potential in your book and just know how to elevate it. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, I just want to hug this book and like do something with this cover. And when I found out Praise had already done it, I was like, oh, thank God, because there's just so much potential. And now it's just like one of the most beautiful self-published books I've ever seen. And so yeah, it's sometimes, I don't want to call that simple because I know Praise put a lot of work into it, but the illustrations were just gorgeous. So it's, you know, like, that's what I mean by simple. It's not always just totally reworking everything, but just getting a fresh look and can make all the difference. So yeah, oh yeah, Stephanie, I'll put my email address in the chat for you.
All right, guys. So I think we have a little bit longer. If anyone has any other questions, I'll wrap it up here, and I'll be posting, you know, the replay to this and make sure that everyone on here gets the guide. I think I can actually upload the guide right here in the chat. I think it'll let me upload the guide. So I may just do that now while I'm waiting.
Yeah, if anybody has questions about the process of designing or uploading any of it, just holler. The guide really is like, it has all the details to upload and even design if you so choose.
Yep, and Praise is going to make it prettier for me. So for now, best that April can get it. And it's gone through Bobby's edit. So I have that, which is phenomenal, but I'm going to be working on maybe having it formatted a little bit easier so it's easier to see and easier to follow. So Praise will do that, and then I'll make the updated version available in the Facebook group as well.
Thank you. Thank you. This is so helpful.
I'm glad. I'm really glad, because I mean, a lot of it is who the heck even knew what A+ content was until just recently. All of a sudden it became this big hot topic that we all needed to figure out how to help people get there. So
in the author groups, all of a sudden everybody's like, A+ content, what is it? How do I do it? It's just like, because it's such an asset, but it is, it's overwhelming at first glance, but
yeah, it can take a long time. But when I laid out, you know, even just doing screenshots in between to just capture every step that I was taking with my content, it just became really painfully clear to me how much really goes into getting it out there. And sometimes it's okay to start with a module, you know, just put one module out there. And you can go and add more, or you can put a couple of modules and then work on some additional design stuff and add more as you, doesn't have to be all or nothing. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining me on this wonderful afternoon. I will hope to see you in the Facebook group. So feel free to reach out to myself, to Sarah, if you've got any follow-up questions. Take care, everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you.